Hello, thank you for joining us for the BPM Change Management PRR Review Monthly Meeting. My name is Christina Coster, representing ISO Customer Readiness, and I will be facilitating today's web conference. Today's call is being recorded. These recordings are for informational and convenience purposes only, and any related transcription should not be reprinted without the ISO's permission. We will be taking questions. I'm sorry, wait a minute. Yes. My apologies here. As a reminder, these monthly calls are structured to stimulate an honest dialogue and engage different perspectives. While we welcome comments and questions, please remember to keep comments professional and respectful. We'll be taking questions throughout the call today. I think I'm on the wrong slide. I apologize. It looks like a little issue here. We will be taking questions throughout the call today. If you are dialed in by phone only and not on the WebEx, you can enter the question queue at any time by pressing #2 on your telephone keypad. If you connected through your audio through the WebEx platform, please use the raise hand feature located above the chat box on the lower right-hand side of your screen. Please introduce yourself before asking your question. If you need technical assistance during the call today, please send a chat message to the event producer. The purpose of today's meeting is to discuss the proposed revision requests that are in the initial or recommendation stage of the process. We will be discussing 17 PRRs today. 15 are in the initial stage and 2 are in the recommendation stage. All 17 PRRs were submitted by the ISO. The Business Practice Manual. The purpose of BPMs is to set forth business practices that implement the ISO tariff. The ISO conducts a yearly policy initiative roadmap process to consider and rank initiatives. Policy changes submitted through the PRR process will be referred to the Policy Initiative Roadmap process. Each subject area in a BPM is based on enabling language in the ISO tariff. The PRR process cannot be used to introduce changes that are not supported by existing tariff authority. The first PRR we have up is PRR 1465, the demand response. It's in the initial stage, and I'll have Elaine introduce that for you.
Morning, thanks, Christina. So in this PRR, we have 3 proposed changes to the BPM. The first is a cleanup item to clarify AWEIM's use of the RDRR model. The next change is with regard to the FRP refinement initiative for demand.
Pardon me, Elaine, I'm sorry to pause you. I need to get back to the correct slide. I'm having issues here on my side. I apologize.
Sure,
okay.
Just let me know.
I'm sorry about that.
Okay. So for the FRP refinement initiative, we are making changes to the bid dispatchable election. The default will now be 60 minutes, whereas before it was 5 minutes. And the last change is in regards to the RDRR Track 2 initiative. The maximum load curtailment for a resource that elects the discrete real-time dispatch option has now increased from 50 megawatts to 100 megawatts. The changes to the BPM identify this and as well as identify the process for requesting to be approved for over 100 megawatts. This request and approval process will take place through an attestation submittal, and the template and directions are provided in the new appendix, which is Appendix H. We did receive one comment from SCE. The comment is unique to their set of resources, and we are working with them outside of the PRR process to address their concerns. Do we have any more questions today? Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Elaine. Next, we're going to go to Don Wilson to discuss PRRs 1450 and 1464. 1450 is in the recommendation stage and 1464 is in the initial stage. Dawn?
Thank you. Sorry. Did you advance the slide?
I'm trying here. There we go. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So PRR 1450 is revising the Get at BPM to incorporate some of the anticipated changes resulting from the 2021 IPE initiative, phase 1. We did not receive any recommendation comments, and the comment period expired September 14th, 2022. The next step for 1450 is to post the recommendation.
All right.
And then the next PR that we have is PR 1464, and it is to incorporate the remainder of the anticipated tariff changes resulting from the 2021 Interconnection Process Enhancements Phase 1 changes. We did not receive any initial comments, and the comment period expired September 14th, 2022. The next step is to post the recommendation.
Were there any questions on either of those for Dawn?
There are 2 questions in the queue. First caller, your line is unmuted.
Hi, this is Susan Schneider, Phoenix Consulting. Good morning. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, thank you, Susan.
Hi. I know the comment period has expired for 1450. I have a question there. We had submitted some very extensive comments, for mostly formatting comments and helping the logical flow, and it looked like not a single one of the recommendations was accepted, even minor ones, based on what was currently posted under the PRR. Is there some reason that I guess I was a little surprised to see that none of the comments were accepted, and I wanted to make sure you actually had received them and had a chance to look at them.
Yes, we did receive them, and they were reviewed, and in several instances, your comments were, in several instances, we had actually pulled language from the CAISO tariff into the BPM, and we did not feel as if that language should be tinkered with at all.
Okay, even though the BPM is a place for further explanation and of things, you just didn't. You just felt you'd just stick with the tariff language and not change anything at all. I mean, not even no comments. It looks like were accepted. It's just a little surprising. It doesn't usually work out quite that way. So you did receive it, and you did consider all of the comments, and you did accept actually none of them. So I just want to make sure I was looking at the right document and that the process didn't break down somewhere.
No, the process did not break down. We got your comments, made edits, and then in some instances, unmade edits.
Okay, because we didn't see any changes, but I will go back and take another look. All right, thank you. Just checking.
Yep, no worries.
We have another question. Caller, your line is unmuted.
Hi, Dawn. This is Songjie Zhu from Great Bright. I have a question regarding the scoring for the TPD allocation. So for site exclusivity, QC14 can have 3 points if it has site exclusivity. QC15 and onward, they get 0 point. So in the 1 year when the parked QC14 compete with QC15 for the TPD, even if the QC15 is doing slightly better, has 1 or 2 points higher than the QC14 in the other category, but because of the 3 points difference for site exclusivity, TPD will go to QC14 first. So is this intentional, and what's the reason for that?
Matt, do you have any comments on that? Because I don't, and I would have to bring it back. The only thing I can think, Sanja, is I wonder if maybe we knew that cluster 15 was going to have site exclusivity because their requirements are different. And so awarding them points they all would get the same number of points. But in comparing them to cluster 14, I can see how there would be a disadvantage. So that is something that we would have to think more about. Matt, do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, I'll have to take it back to the team to confirm, but I think your assumption there is in line with how I understood it. So beginning with cluster 15, the site exclusivity would be required, whereas cluster 14, it was not a requirement when they submitted their interconnection request. However, there's a good chance that cluster 14 projects that continue on, the ratio that actually do have site exclusivity will be higher for making a portion of the site exclusivity deposit non-refundable following the posting. So.
Okay, I just want to understand if you intentionally give QC14 a higher priority, even if everything is the same. If you can take a look into that, I would appreciate it.
Absolutely, Sandra.
Sure,
we'll
we
take
absolutely
a look.
will, and then we'll get back to you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
There are no further questions at this time. As a reminder, if you'd like to ask a question, please press the raised hand icon down at the right hand of the screen.
Thank you. We're going to go next to Michael Martin with PRR 1462 and 1463, both in the initial stage.
Okay, thanks, Christina. Go ahead and advance to the next.
Okay.
So PRR 1462, change in the loss sensitivity calculation. So in the market operations BPM, there is a riveting section on how marginal losses determined. And the change here is we currently use the a single slack bus for the determination of the loss factor, and we're now including the NSI, net scheduled interchange, and this essentially sectionalizes or helps each balancing area in the determination of the marginal loss, which is, is a component of your LMP. So we didn't receive any comments, and the period expired on the 14th, and the next step is the recommendation stage. The next PR is on a clarification on MPM, market power mitigation. And so at present, we use the buses on Midway and Vincent as the center point in California to determine it's the backbone. It's a great place where there's not going to be a whole lot of market power. But we clarified that if we have an outage at Midway or Vincent in that area, we'll use a distributed load bus for the LMP mitigation determination. We didn't get any comments, and again, it's the 14th, and the same, it's the post-recommendation stage next. Any questions on either of those two? All right, thanks, Christina.
Thank you so much, Michael. Did you also have? Nope, guess that's it. Okay. Next for, I believe, looks like Melanie Bogan is up next with PRR 1451 in the initial stage. Melanie?
PRR 1451 is for the clarification for price taking exports. Reason for this revision was to update some of the BPM language to match the tariff section, as well as we also wanted to provide some clarification to how to deal with outages on PT exports in both the planned and forced timeframes. We had no comments so far. The next step is to post recommendation. Is there any questions on this PRR? No questions?
There are no questions in the queue.
Thank you, Melanie. We'll go next to Jill Jordan with PRR 1449, which is in the recommendation stage. Jill?
Thanks, Christina. Can you advance the slide, please? The reason for this revision is the changes to the 2021 interconnection process enhancements phase 1 implementation. There's also an edit that's unrelated to IEP to footnote 21 regarding partial capacity deliverability status for hybrid and co-located resources. There were no recommendation comments for the comment period that ended September 14th, and our next step is to post a final decision. Are there any questions about this PRR?
As a reminder, pressing the raised hand icon will put you in the question queue. There are no questions at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jill. We are next going to go to Matthew Amati. We have quite a number of PRRs with you, so if you could go ahead and comment, and I'll move through the slides for you.
Thank you, Christina. Hello, everyone. My name is Matthew, and I'll be going over the settlement PRRs. We do have 10 PRRs for this fall release. They're all in initial state. Christina, if you don't mind, can you go 3 slides forward, please? Thank you. Starting with PRR 1452, this is associated to update multiple BPM configuration guide to accommodate subtracting regulation energy from meter when evaluating against expected energy. So this was identified via dispute, which we went back and we agreed that the regulation needs to be subtracted from the meter when calculating expected energy. We haven't received any initial comments, and the next step is post recommendation. Any questions on this? Okay, next, please.
There are no questions in the queue.
Thank you. PRR 1453. This is associated to charge code 8831, monthly RAIN, incentive mechanism allocation to accommodate documentation update. This was also via dispute, and the effective trade date on this is August 1st of 2018. It's retrospective. We haven't received any comments, and next step is post recommendation. Any questions on PRR 1453?
There are no questions in the queue.
PRR 1454, this has to do with hybrid phase 2 initiative and ensures hybrid resources selecting ISO forecasts receive forecast fee and are exempt from generic RA. The effective date on this is December 1st, 2022. We haven't received any comments, and next step is post recommendation. Any questions on 1454 hybrid?
There are no questions in the queue at this time.
PRR 1455. This is update configuration guide documentation only to reflect CPE, Central Procurement Entity Initiative settlement. Now, the effective date on this is January 1st of 2023. We haven't received any comments. And next step is post recommendation. Any questions on CPE PR 1455?
There are no questions in the queue.
PR 1456, this one has to do with GMC, charge code 4515, to correct input description for bid segment attribute value for self-schedule to match as configured. The effective date is on this is retrospect, November 1st, 2016. No comments. And next step is post recommendation. Any questions on CC 4515 PR 1456?
No questions in the queue.
PR 1457, update configuration guide for real-time ancillary service import congestion to resolve quantity issue for retroactive trade dates. Now the trade dates, effective trade date starts January 1st, 2020, goes up to October 31st, 2021. No initial comments. Next step is post recommendation. Any questions on PR 1457?
There are no questions at this time.
PR 1458 is associated to charge codes 64600 and 64700, real-time dispatch and 15-minute market, IIE, instructed imbalance energy and energy imbalance market to accurately account for energy transfer system resources and the current price and current quantity of each charge code. The effective date for this change is December 1st, 2022. No initial comment. Next step is post recommendation. Any question on PR 1458?
No questions.
PR 1459, update configuration guide documentation only to reflect RDRR, reliability, demand, respond, resource bidding, enhancement phase 2. And the effective date on this is January 1st of 2023. No initial comment. Next step is post recommendation. Any question on PR 1459?
There are no questions in the queue.
PR 1460, this is associated with changes to FRP, flexible ramp product, in accordance with the flexible ramp product delivery initiative. And the effective date on this is December 1st, 2022. No initial comment, and next step is post recommendation. Any question on FRP 1460?
No questions in the queue at this time.
PR 1461, settlement configuration change to unaccounted for energy charge code 64740 to support WIM, Western Energy Imbalance Market Enhancement to ensure correct settlement of generation only balancing authority area with Western Energy Imbalance Market entities. This is the same effective date as others, December 1st, 2022. No initial comment. Next step is post recommendation. Any question on PR 1461?
There are no questions in the queue at this time.
Christina, back to you.
Thank you, Matthew. That concludes our call for today. Thank you for joining us. Our next call is on October 25th, 2022, again at 11 a.m. If you have any questions or comments, please email the BPM email address at bpm_cm@kaiso.com. Thank you very much for joining us and have a good day.
Thank you for using Event Services. You may now disconnect.